Good morning, friends. So I'm going to continue to talk about the Heart Sutra today. If you remember that we went through the Heart Sutra quite a bit, showing this picture about the Heart Sutra, talk about the prajna. What does prajna means? So we went through that, with prajna, we need to understand the three dharma seals or the three characteristics of existence, dukkha, anicca, and anatta. So that's what we went through. Just, a reminder, last time we talked about wisdom with definitions, with explanation. I pulled information from Master Venerable Yinsen's book, The Discourse on the Prajna Sutras, which, there are two sutras was introduced by Master Yinsen. One of them is the Diamond Sutra. The other one is the Heart Sutra. So I focus on the Heart Sutra for my talk this year. So we went through all these. And if you don't remember, ask for a copy of my slides. Maybe that, will give you a little bit of reminder of what we talk about. And then finally, we explain the meaning of sunyata or emptiness. What is emptiness? So we already went through that. I'm not going to go through again because we have another big topic coming up this talk. So the next one, we're talking about prajna paramita, right? So the next one would be the paramitas, which referred to the transcendent or transcendent perfection. That is the meaning of paramita. So there are 6 in the Mahayana tradition, 6 paramitas. So these are the 6: generosity, discipline or morality, patience, effort, meditation or concentration, and wisdom. Now, wisdom is actually the prajna paramita. So we're into the paramitas now. So another way of looking at it, this is another chart that we can refer that charity, morality, endurance, diligence, meditation or concentration, and wisdom, prajna. So another way, another description, another word to describe paramita. There are 6 in the Mahayana tradition. And I did a comparison of the Theravada 10 paramitas compared to the 6 Mahayana paramitas. Actually, there are 4 added to it in the Mahayana tradition. Now, I highlight the same terms or explanation. For example, dana, generosity. Same for the Theravadan and the Mahayana tradition. And then, let me see, so small. Okay. And then, sila, it's the same to number 6 in the Theravada. If you look at number 3, I'm sorry, it's not sila, it's tolerance or endurance. Number 3 and number 6, they are the same. Number 4 and number 6, they are the same. So we can see there are some similarities. Now, there is one in the Mahayana tradition that is not quite mentioned, or we say focused, as renunciation. In the Theravada tradition, the focus on renunciation is very important. Okay, while when we look at the Mahayana side, it is more like a minor point here. Not that it's not important, but in the paramita, in the way or path of the Bodhisattva, they are not considered as most important. So that's one of the way to explain it. And then when we look at the Theravada sign, there is another one, it's called the Aditana. The Aditana, it means, firm, strong, decisive, decision, okay? That, we have to have such a strong decision, such willingness or aggressiveness, quote unquote, to practice. So personally, I would consider the Theravada path as considered as the path of liberation. The other side will say it is the path of a Bodhisattva. And if we look at the four, number 7 on the Mahayana side, number 7, 8, 9, and 10, they consider it very important to practice. For example, vow. It's very important. For example, skillful means it's very important. And we can actually see why. Because practicing the Bodhisattva path compared to the Theravada path, it is very important to cultivate loving kindness and compassion. So we need to make the decision. We need to have this strong will that I'm going to do it no matter what. Okay? And then this vow is not just for our own liberation. It's for the liberation, including ourselves, okay? Don't neglect the self. Including ourselves, we vow to salvage, to help others from suffering to the other shore of liberation. So there is, I won't say it's different, but I would say that point of focus from the various viewpoints, perception, various angle. Of course, we are emphasized on freedom here, right? It's a freedom to choose whatever path we want to be practiced. We want to practice. Now, there are some scholars talk about these paramitas and they compare the differences. One of them is a very well-known Theravadan commentator. His name is Dhammapala. He mentioned that, the difference are not much difference. It's the way they categorize. Okay, like Satya is classified in both Sila and Prajna. Metta and Upekkha, that means compassion and equanimity, are classified as jhana. Okay, and then Aditana falls under all 6 of them. We have to have the determination. And Bhikkhu Bodhi stated that the correlation between the two sets shows there is a shared core. So they mean the same before the Sangha, the schism of the Sangha community. Okay, so that's that. With that said, let's go into the first one, the dana paramita, generosity. And we know that there are different ways to give. Okay, shaking hand is a gift, showing that you're friendly. Okay, helping others from difficulty is a gift. Sharing an apple is a gift. And offering to the Sangha community, the monastic, is a gift. In the morning, you wear a big smile and say, good morning. It's a gift. Okay? Any form, of course, if you don't mind, we can go to the bank and you can give me all your money. It's a gift. So, I'm just kidding on that, on that one. As long as that we are offering, whether it's service or material, to those who need it. Okay? So it takes skillful means and wisdom to differentiate who are the needed. If I remember, I tried to make a donation to some charitable organization. It turned out that 75% of my donation goes to administration fee. Have you experienced that? Okay, so choose. So dana paramita in the Chinese is called 布施波罗蜜. Okay, it refers to a bodhisattva's practice of generosity, giving or charity, generally or commonly in three forms: material, fearlessness, Dharma. Okay, Dharma, of course, the first priority is the Buddha's teaching, but then any way to help people, for example, earn a living, it's Dharma, right? So, or if you help somebody, to find a way to a more comfortable or more desirable place as a Dharma. Okay, so any way to help, but here Dharma mainly refer to the Buddha's teaching. And fearlessness, like I said, somebody was scared in the dark, go stay with them, hold their hands, or somebody in the hospital being very fearful, go there and say or do some comforting actions, verbally or physically. Okay, so three ways of doing that. Now, the first perfection meaning that we practice, get to the point that it become part of us, it become our habitual pattern. We just act physically, mentally, verbally, automatically, without, we have to think about it or struggle about it. The perfection of giving is fully developed on the first stage of the 10 bhumi. 10 bhumi, or the 10 ground, are the stage of the Bodhisattva's practice. Say, we go to kindergarten and we learn whatever the teacher or the school offer. And then we graduate from kindergarten. So we are a graduate of the kindergarten, elementary school, high school, college. One step. There are 10 steps in the on the Bodhisattva's path. So when we reach the first stage, that means that we fulfill the perfection of the dana paramita. And when we does that, what do we gain? So when we reach that point, we're able to detach from all the possessions, okay, including our body and mind. And then one key element of the perfection of giving, distinguished from the regular. So what's the difference of charity and the ordinary giving compared to perfection of the dana paramita? It is that we realize when we reach that state, we realize that there is no inherent existence in the donor, the recipient, or the gift itself. So that means emptiness of the donor, emptiness of the whatever, the object of giving, and emptiness of the receiver. Okay, empty doesn't mean nothingness. Remember that? We talked about that, okay? Emptiness means anicca, anatta. There is no such thing as independently existing, solely existing, factually existing, unchangeable existing. That means emptiness, okay? So with this realization, ordinary acts of giving are transformed into perfect acts of giving. So that's the difference, okay? If I'm offering my mouth to somebody to feel, okay? I am offering something to feel. Donor, material, receiver. While this donor is changing constantly, and this one doesn't exist anymore if I drop it, right? It's changing. And Theo, when you go to lunch, you're not sitting there anymore, so I can't offer it to you. Changing, changing, changing. So the next one, did I skip something?
Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah, I did. Okay. That's it for this slide. So the next one is like, what kind of attitude shall we have for dana paramita? First of all, keep in mind mentally, physically, verbally, that my offering is going to benefit others, not for show. Okay, some people will do it for show. Trust me on that. I did it before. So, benefiting others, prepare to sacrifice the self. If I give this to Theo, I don't have the mouse anymore. So I have to use my keypad. I sacrifice something, right? Those are small things. Just an example. Then with loving kindness, I know that you need it. Okay? So with loving kindness and compassion. And the other one, that number 4 is very important. With respectfulness. It's not with a superior attitude. Hey, I'm rich, you're poor. Take $1,000. That's not a real, true, pure dana. Okay? I give because you need it, and I am compassionate, and I would like to have a better way of doing things. And I respect you, not that I'm looking down on you, that I get. So with respectfulness, this is very important, especially when we offer to the Sangha community, to the monastic, with respect, please. Okay? Then the next one is with equanimity. Now, I have a story to tell about at the Buddha's time between Mahakassapa and Sariputta. They go out for alms. Sariputta would go to those who are poor and offer them because they need it with loving kindness, right? Mahakassapa would go to the rich. And one day, Sariputta would ask Mahakassapa, why? They're already so rich. Why are you going to offer them? Let them offer you. Go for alms. So they argued and they come to the Buddha, and Buddha said that both of you are wrong. You don't have the equanimity. You make the difference between the rich and the poor. And that's not the right way of offering or taking offer. Okay? So with equanimity in mind when we do the offering. Another example would be like, okay, when you offer a job to interviewers, both with the same qualification, one looks better than the others. One is more handsome or beautiful. So go to your mind. Do I have any bias? Equanimity. And then with the wisdom. And then the story about that would be like, my son once told me, he was in the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He saw a somebody, what do you call that? They live in the street, homeless. Homeless people come to him and then ask for money. And my son asked him why. He said, I haven't been eating for a few days. I'm hungry. He said, okay, let's go to McDonald's. Order whatever you need. Even you can take home. But I'm not going to give money. Because he doesn't know that whether he's using the money for drug or anything, or alcohol. So they went to McDonald's and, feed him, and then he take home a couple, meals also. And from then on, in his car, always have bottles of water and granola bars. So if somebody comes up to him, for food or water, there you go. So we can do that. We can do offering, do dana with wisdom. No problem. We are all wise people. Right? Agree? Sure. So that is dana. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings be liberated. Thank you all.